Live to tape from Tampa, Florida, with your host, Andy Signor. He may have lost the fight, but he'll win the war. This is Nerd Wars.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Season 2 of Nerd Wars. I'm Andy Signor, and I'm so happy to be back. I want to give a quick little heads up of why we stopped recording for a little while. I actually just couldn't sustain post on the show. It was so hard to do. We were doing a 3-camera edit, and I was doing it overnight edits, and I just couldn't keep sustaining it. So I was so lucky enough to find the Sweat Lodge here, Sweat Equity Podcast. Check them out online. They were so generous to give us the studio. Check it out. We're here in this awesome new space where we got a bunch of cameras, and we've got a bunch of nerds, and we're going to be geeking out and doing some more Nerd Wars for you. The way the show's going to come back is a little heavier, a little stronger. Look, there's a lot of stuff I wish I could say, and I know a lot of people are waiting for me to say stuff. I can't say it all, but what I can talk about is Hollywood. I'm not in Hollywood anymore, so I'd love to just start bashing Hollywood without any care or worry in the world, because who cares? Let's really say how it is. The gloves are finally coming off. We're not going to be censored here. We can say whatever we want. We're going to really duke it out in some topics, and we're not going to disappoint this week, because this week we're going to talk about something that enough people are like, oh my God, you can't. Some people think you can't talk about it. Of course you can talk about it. Was Captain Marvel a disappointment? That's tonight's topic. We're going to do this differently. The whole show is one topic. We're going to have sections about the topic throughout the episode, 3 of which we're going to talk about, was it a good MCU origin story? Is Captain Marvel a good character to add to the Avengers team? And just overall, was it a good movie? We're going to break down all 3 of those as 3 sort of separate fights, about 10 minutes each round, and then we're going to all take a vote at the end of the show to see, was Captain Marvel a disappointment? You guys can overrule us in the comments below, so stay tuned, watch it all, and tell us what you think. Let's meet today's fighters. I'm so happy to bring them all on the love it side of Captain Marvel. Please welcome Lee. Hello, Lee.
Hey, how's it going?
Good to have you, man.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
So you love the movie?
Absolutely. I thought it was a fantastic film.
Okay, great. And joining you on your team, we got Damien. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up, Andy? How you doing?
I'm doing great. So you also loved Captain Marvel?
I did, man. I thought it was a great MCU movie.
So you're not just saying that because you have to, because Marvel,
No.
you want to stay good on Marvel's side.
No,
You
I
want the
haven't.
Endgame press
Marvel
tickets.
is not paying me at all.
Okay, you guys love the film.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, great. Now, on the dislike side, let's meet up first at Don, our Nerd Wars champion, pretty much the only one who's really won every other round in Season 1. Welcome back.
I usually support my team, so whenever I choose a side, it's usually right.
So you did not like the film?
I did not. It was a severe disappointment. There's a lot of things that could have been done better.
All right, and joining you, our first time on the show, Marie. Welcome. Hey, Marie.
Hey, what's up?
I'm doing great. Thank you for coming here. We're doing great. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling mediocre like Captain Marvel.
Ooh.
Wow, just swinging.
Just
All right.
swinging. All right. Well, we're all drinking Natty Light. It's Natter Day here in the studio. They're not a paid sponsor. That's the beer we have, and it's my favorite kind of beer. I was on record as I thought the movie was okay. Now I've sat with the movie, and I've had some more strong feelings, but I want you guys to help sway me. I'm not a judge here. I'm here to moderate the discussion and get involved with you guys, because I want to argue with this. At the end of each round, we're all going to take a vote. We're all going to say our piece at the end of right or wrong, and then we're going to keep a tally, and at the end, there's 3 rounds. We're going to just do majority rules. It makes sense? Everyone understand how this works?
Yeah.
It's not really competition, but you want to win.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, so let's start here. Captain Marvel disappointment. I want to compare it first to other Marvel origin stories. It's hard to say is this the best or worst Marvel movie, because you do have to compare this to other origin movies like Captain America: First Avenger, or the first Thor, or even Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, Iron Man. We got to compare it to those movies, and I want to go first to the love it side. How does Captain Marvel compare to other origin stories? Do you think it's a strong origin story, more strong than most? Team, take it away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go for it, man.
I think so. It's never going to be Iron Man. We're never going to get another Iron Man. Iron Man was a magical film. That was the beginning of everything. But then you got Captain America, which was a heart-wrenching film. That was a great movie. It's a period piece. Kind of cheating there a little, I feel. But then you have Captain Marvel, which is now also a period piece. I know it's hard to believe, the 90s being a separate period, but it was, and it did fit. And I would think that's the order I would put it in. It would be Iron Man at the top, Captain America, then Captain Marvel, and then sprinkled in all the way down to Thor, because I hated Thor.
Yeah, I'm going to have to totally agree. When you come to origin stories, you want something that's going to both tell the story of the character but also stand alone in the MCU, and I think Captain Marvel did that. We were introduced to the character, myself and other people that may have never seen Captain Marvel before. I mean, I've followed her in the comics a little bit, but honestly, seeing her in the MCU for the first time, she came out strong. It was a good film. We had an arc for her, and personally, I think, again, Iron Man. Then, I would actually, I kind of like Thor a little bit, but I would put Thor right after Captain Marvel. And Captain Marvel would rank at least at number 3, but because as far as MCU concerned, it felt like a MCU Phase 2 film, Phase 3 kind of, but Phase 2. And they knew what they wanted, they knew the formula, and they nailed it. So that's what I like.
All right, dislike team. What do you think? Was Captain Marvel a good origin movie?
I'll let you go first.
Okay. I don't think it was because, I know nothing about Captain Marvel. I had no idea, like, what her deal was, who she was. And starting the movie off with her kind of piecing together who she was and also trying to explain Nick Fury's backstory, it kind of clashed and made her story less important because we were more focused on Nick Fury at some points than her. And, that's what I've got to say.
Okay, Adon.
As far as origin stories go, I could add to your list and say still is in the bottom of their list of origin films.
Wow.
Yeah, Ant-Man, Guardians is technically origin. And then those are still better because they're introducing all new characters all without having to go in there. With Captain Marvel, you're, like she's saying, you're bringing in Nick Fury and bringing these things, and there's a disconnect there, and it's not feeling like it's the kind of area that you want it to be. It's not making you want to relate to that character. It's not making you want that character. You don't want more out of that character. For an origin movie, you want to have more. You want to see that taste and be like, yes, I want more out of this so I can continue watching and go see Endgame and be like, she's my girl. She's not.
Well, I want to echo you guys because I'm trying to show a little my cards. Like, the truth is, it's kind of a really crappy origin story. There's no struggle. She's literally just a random explosion gives her the most powers of any hero in the whole MCU. She kind of doesn't seem to care or get it, and then she's confused by it. It's kind of boring. There's no struggle, really. Yes, she's knocked up and knocked down, but, I mean, compared to Captain America's origin or even Iron Man, look at the Iron Man origin story. He's destroyed by the weapons he's built. He then has to save himself, remake his own suit, come out. It's brilliant. You're, like, just on the edge of your seat watching that origin. With Captain Marvel, I never really cared. Why do we care? What is the struggle?
So I would disagree there because we have a character who's already very similar to her who's now gone. It's Scarlet Witch. They both got their powers from an Infinity Stone.
Also kind of a boring character, but continue.
She never got her fair shake. She's always been a supporting character.
Okay, at least we agree on
But
that.
she also fucking held back Thanos while destroying the Mind Stone with Vision. I mean, as a power, she's up there. She's there. So Captain Marvel is even greater than her, I would say, because, I mean, those photon blasts are pretty damn powerful. I mean, at least against jukeboxes.
But
and
even
giant
Scarlet
ships.
Witch and Vision, I feel like, had interesting origins. Vision was like Tony Stark's mind and built its own, and then is questioning Stark's motives. And even Scarlet Witch was like, just her family's destroyed, right? She's experimented on both of those mediocre supporting characters.
She was a villain turned hero.
Yeah, both of those mediocre, and I would say they're both mediocre, have far better origin stories.
So
than
is Captain Marvel, though. She is a villain who was a villain of the Skrulls, who was a warrior in this police force that was doing.
She didn't even know
clearly
that.
the wrong thing.
She
We
did.
don't
Well,
know
We
that.
only
hold on,
learned that
hold
at the end of the
Yeah.
movie, which
You
is
guys-
a little
along
too late.
with her, though.
First of all, you guys brought up 3 points that I'm like, what are you watching the same film? You said that it was that Nick Fury diluted the origin story because we were getting a little bit of a Nick Fury backstory, but we already got a lot of Nick Fury anyway, so just sprinkling in a little bit of what he was doing at the time is not really diluting Captain Marvel's story. You went and said that Captain Marvel, drawing a blank here, you said that
I said a lot about Captain
you did
Marvel.
say a lot about Captain Marvel. You said that it wasn't interesting as far as origin stories is concerned, and it wasn't necessary. That Guardians of the Galaxy was also considered an origin story. But I'm going, Guardians of the Galaxy, we didn't see how Star-Lord became Star-Lord. He was already Star-Lord and just became a better version of himself. And it was already an ensemble
But
film.
no, they
Whoa.
they
Opening
kidnapped him,
of Guardians where they kidnap him and
and
his
they
mom's
always
dying.
talk about how they threaten him and how
That
they
was
raised
way
him.
more
That's-
impactful than anything.
that,
What
but that's
not
still
origin.
moment of that, though, so that opening of Guardians, right? Which
Right.
immediately just tells you his backstory. What was the Captain Marvel moment of that? Tell me one thing that was emotionally as strong as that.
the emotional as far as the parent concerned.
Captain Marvel's origin.
Well, personally, I loved the moment when she was with the daughter. That was a very tender moment. That's when she started rediscovering herself, because you got to imagine that we are introduced to Captain Marvel and she does not know who she is. It's not until she rediscovers who she is that you get those tender moments. So for Captain Marvel, it's further into the film than in Guardians, which is at the very beginning, which I understand. That's a great setup. Guardian with a very linear storytelling. Captain Marvel switched it up by giving us
Jumping around, yeah.
a little bit of her backstory along the way.
You like the moment where she was with someone else's kid. The part that she's connecting to someone else's child that is really there's nothing that's of substance for her.
Right.
She had less of a connection with her so-called best friend.
She had a
thought
great
had died.
The scene is literally like, you were more
Her friend
interesting
had more
before.
emotion.
The little girl's almost telling her, you were a more interesting character earlier. Why aren't you interesting now? That's
she
the
had
scene you
a
like.
great connection though with Rambeau. She had a great connection with her. She told her like
We
you
never
were- you
saw
were-
it.
Yes, we did. We got to see it in the bar
But
scene
that's
where she's
Rambeau
having
connecting with
memories.
her. That's not her connecting with Rambeau. Rambeau's like, I looked up to you. Da da da. She didn't say nothing. She's
Rambeau
like, oh,
hasn't
great.
been kidnapped by Kree for 6 years and brainwashed.
She even called her Captain Trouble, so she did connect back with her. She's like, "Oh my God, you remembered?" Yes, she did connect with her. She also connected with her friend.
Lieutenant Trouble. That's what.
Lieutenant Trouble. Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
What so she also connected with her friend. So there were moments of connections. Yes, she had to rediscover who she was. So we got those connections a little bit further into the film, but that doesn't mean that there were no connections there. And then that's my point, is that I don't understand what origin stories you got to comparing it to, because
Every
aside
other
from,
superhero origin story?
well, you mentioned that she got her powers from a blast.
Random blast.
Okay,
yes.
well, random blast happened to Incredible Hulk. He got
Yeah,
hit
but
by a random blast. I'm sorry,
that-
he's one of the
again,
most powerful
that
creatures
story
in the,
and his
in the
power
universe.
is so conflicting as a character. He
How is
can't
it
show any
conflicting?
emotion
But we all
because he
know
loses
why
it.
that
He
random
jumped.
blast
He jumped in
happened.
front. He jumped in front of a gamma explosion to save people, and
in his own experiments.
And guess what? She jumped in front of an explosion. She blew up something to save the experiment from falling into enemy hands.
How does that make her character more interesting?
she self-sacrificed? What
Okay,
person,
and becomes powerful.
She coulda gave up, yeah.
you
She
ma- you
didn't even
mentioned
really
Steve-
self-sacrifice. She's like, okay, she's doing
What?
her job.
She's not doing her job. She
She's a
shot an
soldier.
engine and blew it up.
She's a soldier.
Okay, then
My-
Steve Rogers just jumped
My
on a
thing
grenade.
is
Marie, yes.
with Captain Marvel is I don't know what her personality is. Like at one point she can be really bold and really like tumultuous and just really crazy, but at some points she's stoic. And at some points she's snarky and funny. I don't know who she is as a person, as a character. I feel like people were writing her differently, and they're like, she's got to be funny because she's a Marvel character, and it felt so weird. She didn't feel like a real person to me.
Well, to be fair, she didn't know who she was either. She spent
that
the majority
doesn't-
of the movie not knowing
I,
who she was.
you know
and
what I
memories
wanted?
were
I
there.
wanted more
see where
fish
she's
out
going
of
with this.
water shit, because she lived on a planet. She just walks on Earth and acts like she belongs there, and she doesn't.
She did not know what a Radio Shack was.
Yeah,
Oh,
she knew
oh
how to
no.
ride a motorcycle.
I'm just
Not a
saying,
good character.
She did not know what a Radio Shack was.
She
That
rode
was
a
more for the
motorcycle like a
audience than-
pro.
That's true. Why did she know how to drive a motorcycle?
Well, motorcycle's not that hard to figure out. Moving on. I mean, it's a bicycle with an engine. It's
But
really
it's
not
weird.
that
A lot of
hard.
people that
We're
would tell
an
you otherwise.
anti-bicycle
It's kind of
podcast.
because in one of our previous discussions it sort of came up, but it's like the similar comparison is like the Terminator, right? And if you compare it to like Terminator 2, I would argue Arnold as Terminator 2 had more range and a more interesting backstory. Even he did. By the end, when he's doing his thumbs up, like you care, and it's like with Captain Marvel, I don't know. I wanted to care. I really was rooting for it, and I do. I'm very glad other girls are gonna watch this and be empowered. Marvel needed more representation. Like I'm all about it, but I just the character's boring. There isn't much of a struggle. She got knocked down. She got back up. Good for her. But come on, to earn the most powers to beat Thanos. That the origins was satisfying enough for you? Really?
Yes,
Yeah.
because listen, first of all, she earned her powers by getting it from an Infinity Stone. So she technically is empowered
That's
by
just
an Infinity
Marvel
Stone.
lore that's just distracting you.
Doesn't matter,
Let's
but
break the
it's
character and the story structure down.
But okay, so you're giving her discredit because she's got so much more power. So what?
what's the one line sell on her as an origin character? Like Batman's parents are murdered and becomes a vigilante to like fight crime. Like, what's the Captain Marvel log line that makes her interesting?
A soldier fights for the wrong side for 6 years before realizing that she is actually helping commit genocide and turns to the right side.
That sounds like a far more interesting movie than the one I
That
saw.
is exactly
That's
what
where
we
you got
saw.
it.
Yeah.
what
That's
you got.
exactly
But
what
they-
we saw.
They didn't really execute it that well.
It
no,
was.
no,
Yeah.
the pacing was it was insane. Like I didn't know whose movie I was watching at certain points. Like I didn't know what kind of movie I was watching at certain points. Because again, if you go in cold, if you go in and you're like, this is a movie and this is an origin story of a Marvel movie, and you're like, this is the character we know. You open in this strange planet, and you open in this like weird, and her like the memories are flooding back, and the flashbacks and stuff are slowly being revealed, which I liked, but. It's like, why didn't they just start with her as a human on Earth? That could have really made her a deep character because, she said, I'm human. That's what makes me stronger. Like, that's what the montage at the end was for. But then, like, you're like, but are you, though? Because you're not a human. You're a goddess. Like, you can vaporize things with your hands.
I mean, I agree she is a goddess because I love Brie Larson.
Yes, yeah, she's really hot.
Yeah. Well, not only just that, she's fantastic. I love her whole body of work so far. But I mean, yeah, you grow with her. You get to learn with her. She doesn't know things. Why should the audience know things? You know, like it's that exploration that's what's supposed to draw you to her story.
But here's the thing: like, if you're gonna build a character that is that we're following along, that has no emotional entanglement, they're coming from a society that is, you got to be very stern, very, like, you can't let your
Stoic,
emotions, stoic.
military,
Okay, great example. Equilibrium. I love that movie.
Yeah,
And
fantastic
that's
film.
a fantastic example of, it's a society where emotion is against the law.
The Giver,
and
same,
you need to keep it in order. But as you go through the movie, you find that emotion's there. They're making connectivity, and you want to see that character develop and get that emotion, because when he does, he's a freaking badass. And that's what you want. You want it to watch that movie, and you're like, okay, there's going to be a scene here where she's going to be developing emotion. She's going to be learning about her past. And you see she's
when
learning
she
about
does,
the past.
no doubt's just a girl pops on.
Yeah.
Oh my
so-
god!
So hold on, we're gonna get to character. I want to wrap
Hold on,
up round
why-
one of this.
throws
Why?
at your face.
Why is it? Why
Save
is it
the
that you don't
character debate.
penalize Equilibrium for being stoic for the first half of the film, where he doesn't have any emotional range, but then you penalize Captain Marvel for doing the exact same thing, and she's trained for doing that?
Because
Why
they didn't bring it home.
Well, and I think we can hit that and was it a good movie with the direction, the pacing. So noted. Keeping us in point, wrapping up round one of. Was this a good origin story? It sounds like no one's swayed on that opinion. You guys are saying it was a great origin story.
Yes,
I still think it was
You
a great
guys
origin.
are saying it was not, correct?
No.
I mean, I guess I gotta. Sorry to overrule, but I'm gonna put my vote on the not. It was not, because I wasn't sold on. You didn't tell me why, so I think 3-2 there. We're gonna say it wasn't. But then now it's going to. And you at home, tell us what you think in the comments. Was it a good origin story compared to the other ones? To be fair, compared to the other ones, do we think it was the worst?
No.
No, that's Thor.
So
I
if we
agree.
go in that route, then I
agree
would
with
give
you.
it a point. Which is, was it a good MCU origin movie?
They're only like
No.
What about
six-
that vote? Was as for compared to the other MCU movies, would you give it a positive? Adon, Marie?
No.
No. No.
How many? How
But
many?
we thought about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's on my bottom roster.
How many
but-
MCU origin stories can you count?
MCU.
That's a
Yeah,
challenge.
MCU origin stories. Count them.
I just
Okay.
challenged you.
Okay. So
This
do I
better
have to
be
say the
interesting.
subtitles too? Like the
No, just
Origin
single
stories.
movies.
Origin stories.
Origin-
Single
there's
movies.
origin.
Origin stories. Count 'em.
Origin. There's Captain America.
Mhm.
We're gonna include Captain Marvel, Ant-Man, Thor, Doctor Strange. Black Panther doesn't count.
No, it doesn't. Civil War
Guar-
launched him.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy,
Iron Man.
Iron Man. Mm-hmm. Thank you. And I just
That's
peeked.
it, right? Did we forget one?
Well, Incredible Hulk is not an origin story.
Yeah, I don't count Incredible Hulk.
And-
But
and-
it's
and
still
when-
canon.
It's universal.
Yeah, but
though,
it's not
I
an
mean.
origin story.
And,
Hulk
and it's
was- yeah.
universal. It's not
All right.
really Marvel.
So you got 7. Now, there's 3 of them that you already mentioned. First of all, you put Guardians in there, and again, it's not really an origin story because
That's an
it's
ensemble
an
film.
ensemble
I
origin.
wouldn't say it's an origin
it's an
story.
It's on the
ensemble
line.
origin. So
I
there's
agree
really
that's
6.
it's debatable.
There's really 6, and you got to at least say that. And we put Captain Marvel at 3. So you mean to tell me that Thor and
Doctor Strange.
Doctor
and
Strange
Ant-Man.
and
are
Ant-Man.
better.
Doctor
I
Strange
liked
better than
Ant-Man a
Captain
lot.
Marvel.
Ant-Man was a fun.
Ant-Man was
Ant-Man's
caper.
a fun
So
movie,
you would
but
probably
it's
put Captain Marvel at
inconsequential.
4,
I mean,
and so it's still not in the bottom half.
I mean, as a movie
No, Captain
itself,
Marvel is in my bottom half.
Like,
Yeah, but
it's
I would
just not
put a lot
good
of those movies in the
movie.
worst part anyway. I wouldn't say they're great movies. Is the point? It doesn't mean it make us good just because it's better than some of the other mediocre origin
Well,
stories.
when we're
That's
when
what
we're,
we're
when
talking
we're
about,
voting
where-
on it on the
Thor,
first-
you got to
yeah.
give Thor credit because Kenneth Branagh made the silliest hero somehow work. I mean, like as Guardians and craziness, like it's not my favorite movie, but man, it really did launch the MCU in a new stratosphere, and it worked weirdly enough going to Asgard and stuff. Like I got to give Thor way more props. Iron Man is the number 1 for me.
Right.
Cap First Avenger actually has some problems for me. I think it's not as good. He doesn't really get his stride until Winter Soldier, but still, it's a better film. I thought better directed too, because Joe Johnston, you can tell it's a Joe Johnston
Yes,
film. I'm like, I don't know,
absolutely,
but Ant-Man I think is better. Doctor Strange we could debate.
I fucking hate Doctor Strange. Don't even get me started on
It's
him.
it's unnecessary probably. I mean,
Hate him.
we needed the character, but we understood where he came from. But I would put it near Doctor Strange territory, which I didn't love. And Incredible Hulk, sure, it's better than Incredible Hulk. There you go. Does that help you? Is there
It's
a-
still
Are
it's
you
still not
feeling
the
better
bottom, and
making
it's
fun
still
of
not the
my
bottom,
Hulk?
and you guys ranked it somewhere around the 4th or around the 3rd or the 4th. We ranked it at the 3rd.
All
You
right,
guys
so
ranked it
maybe
at
it's
the
a
4th.
wash. We're debating whether it's. So let's go to issue 2. Is she a worthy character that was needed for this? Is she a worthy character addition to the Avengers team? Now, I think she's necessary because there is not as representation. There isn't enough females in the team. They clearly did it. I mean, the truth is, I do think, and a lot of people at comics reader, I'm not, you are more, Lee, I think the most in the room, but she was sort of forced in a lot of these comics because Marvel wanted a more powerful female character. Marvel's not had a lot of strong female characters, especially in the movies, and so they needed her to an extent, but did we need her into this Avengers film? And at this point, that's the question here. Was she worthy addition? Whatnot? Go ahead.
Power level wise, not a lot of strong female characters. No. I mean, strong female characters, yeah, we have a bunch. Aoki, fucking, she's baller. I mean, that's why Denai Guerrero is still there.
Yeah.
Because she's, I mean,
Sure.
that could have easily been a secondary character that we never saw again. But she was fucking, I mean, she had the attitude, I mean, she's up to a rhino. You know what I mean? So, strong in character, all around, we have a bunch of great Marvel women. But yes,
I mean, Black Widow,
level,
fantastic.
Yeah, Black Widow,
yes,
fantastic.
I would have rather seen her film right away.
Yeah, same.
But power level, I mean, we don't have that power. We have Thor and we have Hulk, as in strength wise.
So your argument is we needed the power level.
We need the power. She's a tank and a blaster. You know what I mean? You got 2 brute strength, and that's pretty much it. Yes, Thor has lightning powers, but they didn't seem to do that much to Thanos. But she is powered by an Infinity Stone.
I mean,
that's
let's
what
be
she
clear.
has.
Thor, if he hit him in the head, Thanos said himself he would have killed him.
So she probably has better aim
left-
than him.
Isn't
I'm
this
just saying.
Thanos- isn't this
Axe in his
Thor's-
chest? That does a pretty good amount of damage.
Yeah, that sounds like the axe and not him. I'm just
Well,
saying.
okay, so you're saying
The
power.
axe
Damien,
was
where do
built
you
for
stand?
him.
I think not only was she important for power, and I think she's going to tie into the handling of the Infinity Gauntlet and the Infinity Stones because she is powered by an Infinity Stone. So I think there's going to be some tie-ins there. But I also think that moving forward, going more cosmic and taking the MCU into Phase 4, I think she's going to be very important when it comes to that phase. I think we're going to need our Captain America or our Iron Man of the cosmic world. And yes, Star-Lord and his ensemble will work. But that's one of the best things about Captain America is that Captain America could kind of stand alone. He can stand apart from the ensemble, and we needed somebody who can go up against not just Thanos, because there are bigger threats than Thanos out there, and the cosmic world is going to get to that, and so we're going to need someone who's a little bit more powerful than that. So yes, we needed her not just for what's happening in the immediate future, but what's going to happen in Phase 4.
Guys, Adon, Marie.
You can go first. I don't.
All right. Didn't need her.
Well, if you're just gonna sum up like that.
Well, listen, like, was it at the end of Guardians 2, we had the introduction of Adam, which they didn't touch, and everybody who's a comic book fan,
Twice in a row, by the way.
yeah, exactly.
They haven't touched it.
But they have him on the roster. Just you don't see who he is, and he's a fantastic character that is OP as fuck.
When he has a soul gem, yeah.
When he has a soul gem, yes. But like he's basically Marvel Jesus. He's gonna get that gem, or they'll probably do something that he doesn't need it. Scarlet Witch doesn't have the gem, and like you make the argument that she got her powers from
The Mind Stone.
the Mind Stone, but she didn't need the Mind Stone anymore, and she doesn't carry that power in her.
No,
and
that's
she has
Vision.
enough, and she has enough power to destroy the Mind Stone. She has a lot of power.
Agreed.
And he even said, he's like, I don't even know how to quantify the amount of power that you have, and you're not even supposed to be able to destroy the stones, by the way. So
Yeah. No.
that's another thing. So, like, as far as having, like, overpowered characters, they have that. And they have, like, interesting characters they could have touched on.
Scarlet Witch is dead, though.
No,
and Vision is destroyed. Yeah,
Yeah.
she faded away.
I mean,
Did
come
she
on,
fade
they're
away?
not really dead.
She
Lee.
faded away.
They
And
would have brought
Vision
her back.
is a
They're not-
mindless.
That's
you
why
really, do
Ant-Man
you
would've
really
been
think
for
they're
it.
dead,
And he's
Lee?
a hub. No.
in the
I'm
current
just saying.
situation that we're in,
Yeah.
To go at Thanos now, she
In the
is
here
not
and now.
there.
The fact of the matter is, like, they're going to bring back the characters.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and Adam Warlock there, they don't know if he's dead or not. They have the other characters there, too. They would have been able to
Was Adam Warlock
salvage
on
it.
the posters released today? No?
No.
Was she not there?
Well,
I'm just
you're
wondering.
going to talk about after fact on everything here. We're talking about what they could have done.
Marie,
in
thoughts?
regard.
I don't know. I'm indifferent on this.
Why do
Like,
they need her?
because I'm not super into Marvel. I'm more of a DC person. But like,
Did you
I
feel like
get.
she needed her? Like, when you watch it, like, you think that she could have
It's
been used?
weird that they like kind of made her. They kind of added her as like a MacGuffin. They were like, yeah, she was actually secretly important the whole time. I'm like, why? Like, we have so many powerful characters, and you just like threw in this like random one, like a fan fiction or something. It's like, and then this even more powerful person came in and destroyed stuff, and she's gonna defeat Thanos. I don't know. It was weird. It felt rushed.
So I mean,
I would
but
have loved to
felt
see Beta
totally
Ray Bill.
rushed. I agree.
That would have been another one that
But
they could have wanted.
That's like what Damien was saying, though. That's for the future. I mean, you got to think these contracts go up. They're going to need more contracts. She's on the beginning of what's probably a 6 fucking movie contract. So I mean, I don't know. I'm not her agent, but
that could have been any character they decided on. Like they could have been on
not
that
Chris
6
Evans.
Here's the
contract.
thing. The way the snap left the MCU, where the snap left everybody. I mean, everyone could talk about, hey, we already know Scarlet Witch is coming back. She's on a rom-com with Vision later on, whatever. We can't talk about what's gonna happen because the news has been released. We have to talk about what the story is going to lead into. And right now, we don't have the Scarlet Witch. We have to always kind of think of it in a bubble. We don't have these characters. Most of them are dead, and they've been snapped away. You need somebody who could handle an Infinity Gauntlet. You need someone who could handle an Infinity Stone. And right now, the ones that could are gone.
Captain America.
Well, so here's the problem. Why
he
why
couldn't
can't
handle
Captain
he couldn't handle
Marvel's
Thanos' fingers.
Wait.
He just has to put on the gauntlet. That's all he needs.
Captain Marvel has now earned the right to get the gauntlet? Really?
No,
for
we're
you?
not. First of all, earning the right is a matter of what the story set up for that time.
No. Well, hold on. It's just to clarify. I don't mean to cut you off, but this is the 22nd movie, and it's pretty much they've declared is the ending of this franchise. The Russos have said so. Marvel, they're going to move into another thing and story, and the phases are going to stop because this is the end of the movie. Really? We need Captain Marvel to come save the day? Like, what about Thor? Thor almost had him. I would rather see Thor get the death blow. What about Cap? What about Hulk even? Or Scarlet Witch? Hello? Hawkeye? These are the people we've grown since movie 1, where I want them to take them out. I don't want Black Panther or Spider-Man to take her out. I don't want Captain Marvel to take them out. I want the core group that we've been watching and growing with for all this time to come and take her. I want the scrappy team from the beginning to figure out against all odds to, avenge the fallen, right? What Captain Marvel coming in is a huge MacGuffin that's like, we need a female. She's super powerful. That'll work. I mean, how is it not a little bit of filler?
First and foremost, in the Russo I trust. In the Russos I
Sure,
trust.
they'll direct her better.
Let's start
too, I
there.
hope, yes.
The second, I'm not saying that Captain Marvel is going to handle the whole gauntlet. I'd actually think that she probably, and in fact, if I look at the original core, there is lore of Iron Man having a left arm that can handle some of the Infinity Stones. I actually think that it'll be split amongst them.
They have
she
done
may
that.
handle
The whole Illuminati
yeah,
did
she
that.
may handle the Space
Yeah,
Stone.
but they
Someone
didn't
else
put
may
it on
handle.
the time.
Thor may handle the Power Stone. I'm actually looking at it like I don't think. Kind of like when Star-Lord was holding hands and they were holding the Power Stone together. I actually think it's going to be them working together to wield these stones. Spoiler alert! Sorry, Russos, if I gave anything away, my bad. But this is how I think because you're right.
Assumption spoilers.
It's assumption spoiler. Assumption spoiler.
It's like history. Is history spoilers?
Hashtag much love. Russo.
History.
You're gonna be
now, I'm
dead
not-
in a few days. Like they fucking got it.
Marvel sniping me
They're
through the window
sniping
right
you.
now.
Yeah.
No, but you're right. They're probably
be
going
like
to
a
spread.
car
Who's going to
accident
take the
somehow.
gauntlet if they beat
So,
Thanos?
but that's the thing because you're right.
And that's the best part of the comic for me is when what's her name? Who takes it? In the I can't remember the character that takes it first. Is it Nebula? Someone takes it
Yeah,
from
Nebula.
Thanos
Yeah, I think
and
it was
wears it,
Nebula.
and that to me was fascinating. And I wanted to see that in a moment rather than Peter. Oh, you killed Nebula. That was just whatever. But as Doctor Strange
No,
said,
you
it
mean
was the only
Gamora.
way. Or,
You're
sorry,
talking about
Gamora.
Gamora. Nebula's alive.
What is it? Gamora
And they
takes
can
it.
still do that.
No, Nebula didn't wield it though.
In the
did.
comics,
Yeah.
right? And that was an interesting idea. Like, oh shit, I would love to see someone else wield it and then suddenly turn dark.
Right.
That would be interesting.
Now,
Well, she was dark first.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you when you sit there and say, "Hey, is Captain Marvel going to come in and just wield the gauntlet and kick everyone's ass?" And what's the rest of the team there for? I don't think they'll do that.
No.
I mean, I don't think that. I
She's
mean,
there
that's
to distract
that's
Thanos while
Yeah, maybe she hits it with a bunch of plasma blasts while someone else does it. But the point is that she's there because they don't. All the people that could have originally wielded the stones are gone. So that's why we needed her. That's why it's important.
means the end. Okay, so do you think guys? Let's take the vote. Do you think she's a worthy character?
No.
You got me when you said, look, the truth is she is going to lead the next wave. The contracts
Yeah.
are ending. We need someone else. She's not the most interesting character for me, but I'm hoping with Russos and other storytellers we can make her interesting. So I'll give you this one for me, but you're saying no, Adon?
No, so many other characters they could have done and focused on, and like in the original story, and I know they needed a huge strategist because Thanos, setting aside his uber power,
Warlock really knows how to do it all right.
Yeah, well, he manipulates everybody.
Right, even the devil is manipulating Thanos.
Exactly, everybody is being manipulated,
Mephisto, right, yeah.
and all to get to the just get the gauntlet.
Like that was so fascinating to me in the book, which I wish there was more of. But like even the villains are realizing Thanos is wrong, and they're like trying to get him.
Well,
and so the villains and the heroes team up to try and trick him.
The villains, the gods,
it's brilliant.
The cosmic entities,
and you need a tricky thing like that, not some cosmic power.
Sadly,
person.
we can't have that because Marvel keeps killing their villains. So
yeah, there's no good villains.
Can't really
Marie, what do you
show
think?
up.
Is she a worthy character?
Yeah, you guys convinced me. Sorry.
Nice.
Yes.
Sorry.
And you guys are saying it is. Okay,
Yes.
so there you go. So now we're even. Now let's get to the final debate in this. Was it a good movie? Is overall a good movie? We touched upon it, but to me, it's poorly directed. And I think when we talk about just even Winter Soldier, like I didn't love Captain America: The First Avenger, but it's a Joe Johnston film, and it's the introduced characters. I liked Red Skull. I liked him, but it becomes a montage, and then they rush through it to get to Avengers, which was a bummer. But I thought his origin story was interesting. What was more interesting to me, though, was Winter Soldier when the Russos took over and they directed him. And they suddenly realized, like the beginning of Winter Soldier, and I remember the Russos, I remember interviewing the Russos, and they said that first kick, when he kicks ass in that first moment, like that was their task. Like, we needed to prove to you that Captain America was a badass, because no one really bought it yet until that movie came out. And not only did they do that, but then the whole movie is just so taut and well done. But let's compare two scenes. We had this in a previous discussion, but I want to bring it up again. There's an elevator scene in Captain America: Winter Soldier where Cap, is sweating and he realizes shit's going to go down and he's about to kick ass. And it's an amazing sequence in that movie. There's another elevator sequence in Captain Marvel where Nick Fury is in with Ben Mendelsohn, who I forget his character, the police chief, but it's obviously, spoiler alert, we're spoiling the movie if you've gotten this far, the Skrull. And it's just so poorly Columbo direction of just like, well, wait a second. Nick Fury, super agent's like, wait a second. My name's not Nicholas. It felt like Martha in the Batman v Superman moment. It was so tacky. But so I mean, that just the comparing of the directions and scenes, like the movie was filled with those movies. Brie Larson's walking around the subway looking for Skrulls, and it was like the director's like, "Can you do that again, but be more obvious that you're looking for a Skrull?" Like the whole thing felt like a Power Rangers episode. It was just poorly paced, poorly directed. Did you guys see any of that? Did it not bother you? Am I crazy?
Here's the thing. I saw it with the intention, through the goggles of they're trying to make a 90s action film. I felt like it was a stylistic choice. Like even the slight overacting in certain areas and the slight little things that they did. The obviously they were playing homage to when they had the Blockbuster and the Radio Shacks and so on. Radio Shack's still around, I think. But even though they're playing those homages, I think that they did that on purpose. I thought it was a stylistic choice to be kind of Power Ranger-y 90s style because it was a little over with the things. Everyone else, you know what? We laugh when no one seemed to bat an eye when Michael Pena decided to go into a backstory rant, and it was like one montage after another. And everyone was talking in Michael Pena's voice. It was a stylistic choice. The director decided to go that route with it. This director decided to go with a 90s action film with it. So, I'm cool with it.
They're shaking their heads a lot in there, but go ahead, Lee. We'll get back. Save your thoughts there on the couch. Go ahead, Lee.
Okay, so I watched some videos where the directors commented, especially on the train scene, specifically on there, and they said they felt like a French Connection kind of type of thing. They wanted like
They
an
were far off
intense,
from that.
It's what they wanted though, and I mean the '90s humor hit.
Maybe the action, not the stuff before the action.
It's the '90s comedy. It's that's what it is. It's like you said. That's the era that they put in. That's the choice they made. And I mean, I agree. The music didn't fit all the time because, especially with the character that was originally from the '80s when she was taken, to now include all this '90s music is a little off. I thought about that later. I would say that wasn't a great choice.
Yeah, nor was that hilarious action comedy French Connection. Anyway, I'll let you guys handle the 90s comments.
Oh my God. No, this movie was made by directors with two different visions. You could even tell in certain scenes, like when they were in early S.H.I.E.L.D., which I did like. That was cute, like with the concrete, the shells of airplanes. That would have been that was cool. But you could see the scenes where there was clearly they gave up. Like that scene where they were in the early S.H.I.E.L.D., that was great, and I love that scene a lot. And then you go to a scene where it's the I'm just a girl and they're fighting. It was poorly lit. It was poorly sound designed. I couldn't see what the hell she was doing. It was poorly shot. It was two different directors with two different visions. They had no idea what they were doing, and it was just all sanctioned. They're like, we have to have this one scene. We have to have this one scene. Make sure she's doing this and this other scene. There's no stylistic choices here. It's just a hodgepodge. You don't even know what's going on half the time. Yeah.
Don?
Okay. Great example of a movie that is beautifully directed, and it's a Marvel movie, Black Panther. Like everything that you watch in it is like it's beautiful. There's some context, and you're focused on the story. But at the same time, if you want to analyze the film, you're gonna get more out of it, and you're gonna see those bits and pieces. And just like she said,
Agreed.
everything feels mixed match, doesn't sync well. You from the directing to the sound score. Even if you take out "I'm Just a Girl," which growing up I liked that song.
It's Gwen
I
Stefani, no doubt. I mean, what's not to love?
I enjoyed
What's
it.
not to love?
But as soon as it kicked in, I was like, why?
At like the most
It-
important climactic
Oh,
moment.
And matter of
why?
fact, it would have made even more sense if because there's a giant jukebox. If someone hit the jukebox and all of a sudden it played "I'm Just a Girl," I would have given that a pass.
I mean,
But no,
I feel
it
like
just
So would you
came in
prefer
out-
would you prefer Alanis Morissette or what?
yeah, I mean,
Yes.
what was
That would have been great.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Wonderful.
Please.
Considering her,
You live, you
considering
learn.
her World War choice, her wardrobe choice was Guns N' Roses when she was on Earth in
Yeah.
the past. I think Welcome to the Jungle would have been fucking lit.
Yeah.
That would've been
Overdone.
awesome.
Better.
It would have been
Wouldn't
awesome.
been on
watching
so on
her
the nose.
blasting people. I mean,
I can't imagine that
no.
wasn't argued in the post bay. Like
feel
someone
like it
was like,
should've been.
"Really,
Yes,
just
they-
a girl, no doubt." And
there
someone's
were
like,
fights.
"Yeah, it's great, do
This
it."
is the
No,
Marvel
it seems
feminist
a little on
movie.
the
We
nose.
need to have something that says
And-
we are for the women.
Total
Yeah.
Eclipse of the Heart would have been great.
It was wild. Like, you had that song come in. I like visibly went, "Oh no!" Like I was by myself in the theater, and I was like, "No."
Did Disney buy all the rest of the tickets? Is that what?
Yeah.
It was a packed theater though. Yeah.
I was by myself.
How
And
late did you go see it? I need to know.
What?
How
This was
late
like-
did-
this
how
wasn't
long
I
did
went
you
to
wait?
see it at 11 p.m. and there were like it was a few people scattered
Was
around.
it opening
but
weekend? I hope not.
No, 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 no,
Okay,
no,
all
no,
right.
no, no. That it was recently, and like, the movie itself is pretty. It's pretty feminist. It's pretty woke, and then that fucking song came in, and it's like corporate feminism. It's like, hey, go gals. You
All
like
right.
Corporate
you
feminism.
like fucking songs. I don't know.
So
And it was awful.
But you can't
hated
penalize the
that.
whole film because of one song.
No, I'm not.
No,
The
but,
whole film
I
was
get what you're
shitty
saying.
to begin
There's
with.
a perfect example, though. It is a great example of why it wasn't working.
Yeah.
Well, see, guys, I don't understand. Maybe you know what it is. I agree. There are some great films in the MCU, and maybe we were just a little spoiled, maybe a little treated to some like really awesome films with some really great direction. But had this been in Phase 1 before we saw the Civil Wars and the Infinity Wars, would we have been saying, "Man, this was poorly directed. This looks like garbage"? I'm honestly telling you, there are other.
Yes.
That's what we
I
said with
challenge
Thor.
you, sir.
We
A
were
movie
just
is
saying
a
that was
movie.
that was the first
Yes.
phase, and we're like, "Oh no, Thor
Are
was
we?
not great."
So wait, Damon, are you saying that we should just be okay with mediocrity? That it's you know what, ones are better, but this one's fine.
Especially after
I'm
10
saying that if you
Why
Build
haven't
up.
they raised the bar in this franchise to
It's
make
a-
us expect the
It's
greatness?
a foundation. It's a foundation. The next movie will be even better because they don't have to go back to that.
Plus, I don't like this argument that you say,
get a
"Oh, it was
mulligan."
just a '90s genre." That's the excuse. There's a lot of great '90s movies. Why does the '90s excuse just sort of, well, we can have some bad direction and some overacting and no nuance? Like,
Was the
why
90s
is-
a bad
So
decade?
maybe
Yeah,
they
what
maybe
is-
they didn't hit the mark, but I know what they were going for. I think that's the difference. Is that I knew that they were going for that '90s style action buddy cop film. That's what they were going for. Maybe they didn't hit the mark exactly, but it's to say that it was a bad film because that's what we're asking. We're asking, right? We're asking, is it a
was
bad
was
film?
Captain Marvel a disappointment? Is the
Yeah.
question.
Yes.
Absolutely
So-
not.
And I would
Yes.
argue it definitely was. And the other thing we haven't touched upon for me, which was just for me it cracked a lot of the MCU canon. Like when I rewatched Iron Man recently, like, and you meet Coulson, and then you realize Coulson's experienced all this, and a Skrulls copied him, and a lot of intense space shit that's way above anyone's pay grade, and suddenly he's just schlubbing around with Tony Stark, who hasn't even made a suit yet. It all just doesn't jive correctly for me. It sort of wrecks the timeline, and it's like they knew this since day one. It just. And then Nick Fury, I feel like, isn't super sleuth Nick Fury. Okay, we can say the excuse of he's learning, it's still new, but I think that's a cop out. And
So
then
was Coulson at that time in the movie. That's his first week on the job.
And when
Yeah,
we meet
that was
Coulson,
as rookie Coulson,
why didn't
but
they
not
know
Nick
it was
Fury.
called Shield? They knew it was called Shield then, but that they didn't in Iron Man. There's just a bunch of
that's
No,
been a
Shield
big one for a while, and including
Shield's been
in
Shield
Agents
for
of
a while. Yeah.
In Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they're like strategic homeland, but
Yeah.
we're working on the name. They've been saying that for a long time.
Shield's been that for a while, but also Coulson is cool and collected when we see him in Iron Man because he has experienced Skrulls, because he has experienced otherworldly things, and they have already been hunting
He's,
out.
I mean,
he's
we already
doing a
had-
lot for Pepper Potts in that movie,
We
which
had-
I feel like he would have sent an underling to do if he knew there were space aliens in the world. That's all I'm getting at.
We had Kree bodies in Agents
Honestly,
of S.H.I.E.L.D., though. I mean,
there's
they've
no
been setting
there's
this
no
up for
major
years.
threat in Iron Man that's anywhere near the level of Captain Marvel. So the threat
Well,
levels are completely non-connected.
I'm looking
and
at-
that's just they didn't know what they were doing when they made Iron Man. But furthermore, I was just going to say the fact that I lost my train of thought. But sorry, go ahead. I'll get my train of thought. I had a point that I'll come back to when I can think of it.
Well, does Coulson act even though you're sending in your number one man, who obviously we've established in Captain Marvel that Coulson and Nick Fury are trustworthy people. That Coulson trusts and believes in Nick Fury even then. And then would you not send your number one man to say, hey, listen, I'm scouting this dude. Go scout him. Go find out what he's up to. I understand that he has some weaponry. He's into some stuff. Starks have been involved with S.H.I.E.L.D. from the very beginning since
yeah.
Captain America.
Those were good Easter eggs that they planted in other later movies. I think Howard
Yeah.
Stark and that but although Iron Man 2 really killed that even
It
earlier with
did.
That
the
was a bad movie.
It
Yeah,
was,
it was
it was
really
a
bad.
platform to bring in Black Widow. That's
Yeah.
all I see Iron Man 2 as.
But I was gonna say, to me,
Good platform.
To me, it's like Captain Marvel
you.
just felt like
The
Solo.
wig was terrible.
It felt like the Solo of the Marvel franchise. Where like Solo, the movie, the
film, yeah,
reboot,
the
where they were just
Star Wars.
here's fan service. That's how Solo got his name. That's how Nick Fury got his eye scratched. Oh my God, a cat? Really? No.
I
I
love
didn't
that
hate
cat.
that.
Space Cat.
I
thought that
love
was
that
funny.
cat. It's
a friend who I knew
It
you
is
should
an
have trusted better. Like
alien cat. Yeah.
the mystery was far more interesting than a cat. Come on.
That's
Well,
life. I don't know what to
If
do.
you got
I
your
thought that
eye
was
scratched
funny.
by a space cat, you would probably switch up the story too when you tell other people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how that goes down.
It felt like a little bit of filler of just the MCU trying to like, well, let's give a bunch of fan service in the origin story so we can solve these problems. But I guess just me. Adon, chime in on your last final thoughts. Was this a good movie?
No, I'm sticking with it's still a disappointment. I mean, we've had 10 years to refine it. I don't need it to be the best, but I don't need it to be in the lower tier of the films. It was definitely something that we have a formula, we know what works, and they have the backing to execute it. So why are we getting to a point where we have to question it when we know that they could have executed that? They shouldn't have needed to be there. It felt like it should have been phase one, basically, and that's not acceptable to me.
Marie?
Yeah, I don't. It's not. Like, hold on, I'm trying to get my thoughts together right now. But it really wasn't her story because they were like, oh, we teased her at the end of Infinity, and we need to explain how Nick Fury knows her, and that's why the movie exists. It's
Amen.
it's not her movie. It's straight up not her movie.
It was
And
a
if it
rushed
was her
storyline,
movie-
yeah.
Yes, and if it was her movie, they would have started when she was a kid and when she kept getting knocked down, and like during those brief moments where you could see her becoming a character, where she got up and like kept going, and when she was in the Air Force, I was like, that's the movie I wanted, but I didn't get that. I got I love sci-fi, but like I got a sci-fi / mystery / Marvel movie, and it had no direction at all, and like the pacing was out of control. It wasn't a good movie.
Damien.
I think that we've been served some very good films. I think as an origin story, we got what we needed to move forward. Filler, I don't agree with filler because there's a lot of setup in other films where one film sets up an origin for another film. We get that a lot now. This is just a common practice. I believe that Captain Marvel got her origin. It was told in a different way because we've seen the starting from a child and growing up. We saw that with Star-Lord. We saw that with a couple other people where they start as a young person, then we see them grow up and then become superpowered, and then they accidentally get in front of an explosion and now they got powered. We've seen that before. Captain Marvel decided to switch the script, switch up the storyline, how they presented it. It was presented differently. I like the way it was presented because we got someone who was seriously fighting for the wrong side for 6 years, training and to become a genocidal soldier, and then realizes that's not who I am. And my emotions, I can't hide them. And they've been trying to hold down my emotions because it would reveal the power that she has. I saw a film where someone who becomes important in the future was brainwashed to be on the wrong side, who then made the choice to go to the right side. I saw an origin story. I saw how she got her powers. I got all the history. I think it's a great beginning.
Lee?
I agree. I mean, yeah. So you got a character who was lied to her from what she knows the last 6 years of her life, told to control her emotions, told to be stoic, try to be controlled the entire time. And, and she overcame that. You talk about, you need something to relate to. We can relate to that. I can relate to having overbearing bosses. I was in the military. I can relate to, being lied to about a war you're going to. I mean, yeah, this stuff happens. We're told it's, Iraqi freedom. It's for oil. Holy crap. You're told these scrolls are killing us all. Nope. In fact, we're killing them because they don't want to bend the knee. So, I mean, that's all relatable to me. That's something I can get in touch with. That's a film I could get behind, and I did. And considering this is the first film in, like you said, about 21 films that's an origin story, it's been a while since we had the last one, because I don't count Black Panther as an origin story. That got launched off from Civil War. You compare it to, like, Doctor Strange wasn't perfect. I mean, so you're saying that, they should have nailed it down. They didn't nail it down back then either. So this movie was fantastic. This is going to give us a new section of the cosmic era of Marvel. I mean, we have something to look forward to beyond Endgame, and I really think that this movie is just a fantastic addition to the Marvel universe.
All right, so we're tied there, and I'm going to wrap it up and end this up because I started when I watched this movie and I reviewed it on this channel. I said it was okay, and I think I realized after when I watched it, I was distracted. I watched it. There were shiny things. It was a Marvel movie. There's a lot of money thrown at this movie. It's sort of they tricked me in a way. And then as I sat with it, even before we did have this conversation, it just started to not sit with me. And as I gather these thoughts and as we had this discussion, I don't think it's a great film. I don't think, especially to Marvel standards. And while you are saying, oh well, we're spoiled. Yeah. I don't know. I think Marvel has set up a new era of what we expect in a movie, and I think they didn't deliver it. I think she's an important character because I do think women were shown in the MCU, and I support we need more. But I would have much rather seen a Black Widow movie. I want to see the characters we've invested in. I agree she should have been introduced, but this movie, this origin story, felt rushed. Her struggle wasn't real for me. This thing you keep pitching to me. I get it. It's interesting. It's not a lie. That is what the movie is technically, but not really. I mean, she stands up at the very end because she realizes, oh, the people I'm working for are bad. I'm going to do the right thing. Yeah, good job. So what? She did the right thing. There's not much of a struggle or anything that's learned.
There are a lot of people who don't do the right thing, though.
Sure. No.
The rest of the Star Force, for example.
I honestly would have thought it would have been better if they focused on like what you're describing, which is essentially the movie, but they focused on like her in the grit of it, like struggling, like seeing them as the enemies, and other than that one scene, and we really feel for her, and then go into her background story, because otherwise it doesn't work. But like if you have that where you focus on her and you really think these are the bad guys, and she's been fighting this fight, and you see some bad things happening, and then all of a sudden, whoa, this is all wrong.
Yeah, we can't even learn that because it's like there's a twist that distracts us. I just think exactly all those problems. There's hint of something interesting, and there's a hint that this character could be interesting. I'll give you that. I like Brie Larson as an actress. I just think she was poorly directed, and there's not much to do because her origin was kind of underwhelming. And I think they just distracted us with a bunch of shiny things. So ultimately, I had to say I don't think it is ultimately a good movie. I think I got to sway. You guys are with me. I got to go there. But it's not what we think. It's what you think in the comments below. Tell us what you thought. Tell us what you thought of the show. Tell us what you thought of Captain Marvel. Be honest down there. We didn't really touch upon it, but I know a lot of people and a lot of my new fans are all just like, there's a lot of this, oh, well, SJW, it's too feminist. I don't think that has anything to do with this.
Not at all.
It shouldn't. No. It should have nothing to do with, we shouldn't even, I'm glad that we didn't even really bring up the fact that she's female as part of the debate, because we shouldn't. It should just be a good movie. Of course, Marvel needs more female heroes. Yes. But the fact that that has nothing to do with our debate here. So I want to make sure we're clear. Like, we don't support that, and I don't support that. I want to see a good movie. I don't care who's in it. Let's just make sure it's good. I do think, though, a lot of people were afraid to honestly critique this film. I think a lot of the critics were afraid of it in a way because it's an important film in that regard. And I think they also just don't want to piss off Disney. The truth is, even when I was at Screen Junkies, there was a little bit of an aura of like, well, Disney has the Endgame tickets. Do you want to go to that premiere or not? How mean do you want to be on this movie? Was it really that bad?
I mean,
come on, guys.
Don't get me wrong. I want to go to the Endgame premiere.
But there's a little bit of an unwritten sort of
law. I
would
would do
do
horrible things to go to that movie.
Because even the bad reviews are always a little bit kinder in the way they write them. They don't treat them like a DC movie.
That's up to the critic, though. That's up to the critic.
DC
that's
movies
up
are
on their
bad.
stuff.
Yeah, well, says the DC fan.
We're
going to do that next episode. We're going to hit that up next episode. But I want to thank you guys for coming. There's a lot more to say about this topic. Tell us what you thought down below. I want to thank everybody who came and give you guys a quick plug. Lee, they can find you at the Funko Pop King on Twitter, yes? And all
Twitter
the
and
socials?
Instagram, yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. And Damien, you're at Mr. Creative Freedom.
That's me.
Anything else you want to plug, you guys?
Nah, man. We're just looking forward.
I love
Hey,
that.
listen, you guys. I love arguing with you. I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes you're cold, man. But I'm like, I don't understand it.
It's Adon at Adonatron. Yeah, thank you. What do you think, Adon? Anything you want to mention?
Yes, I'm actually also on Nerd Tots, and I go to
Nerd Tots?
Nerd Tots.
Is that a real thing?
It's a real thing. It's
It shows
starting like we're doing D&D now.
Oh,
and
wow.
And
All right.
basically, it's a bunch of nerds get together, and we're struggling to learn how to do D&D.
I love it.
and yeah, so that's gonna be coming soon.
All right, stay tuned.
And
We'll link it.
Nerd Brew.
Nerd Brew. Nerdbrew.com. Always check out nerdbrew.com.
check that out.
Check out what we do here in Tampa.
Local nerds.
Marie, welcome. That was awesome. Please come back. Tell us.
Oh,
You're at
sure.
Please Chill Dude, and you perform here in Tampa a lot, yes?
Yes, I actually have a show on Friday at 813 Brewing. At
Where
8
can they find
p.m.
all your shows? You have a website or anything that's on your social?
No, it's all on Instagram
Okay.
at Please Chill Dude. So check me out there. I'm a comedian. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Good. I love it. We'll check you out. Go support everybody here. You can find me at Andy Signor on the socials. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being patient with me for the show and everything. Lots more coming soon, so stay tuned. And as always, have an awesome one. Bye!